Spiritual awakening is not a bed of roses. It is intense, challenging, and often lonely. It is not just about achieving enlightenment or feeling peace, but about facing the shadows that were once hidden. When the truth reveals itself, nothing can be seen in the same way again. And it is at that moment that many chosen ones feel the weight of this transformation. The feeling is like waking up from a deep dream and realizing that reality has always been different from what we imagined. The world continues to follow its routines. People live in automatic patterns while you see beyond the surface. But with this clarity also comes discomfort. You no longer fit in. Your perceptions change. And often this generates loneliness and profound questioning. Many talk about awakening as a moment of liberation and light, but few comment on the side effects of this process. Mental confusion, a sense of loss of identity, physical pain, distancing from close people, and an extreme sensitivity to what previously did not bother you. What seemed like a blessing can, at times, feel like a heavy burden. But do not worry, chosen one. All of this is part of the process. Pain, doubt, and transformation are signs that you are leaving behind an old version of yourself. The path may be challenging, but it leads to something much greater. And in this video, you will understand why these effects happen and how to navigate this phase without fear. If you have ever felt that your spiritual journey has brought unexpected challenges, stay until the end. Here, we will unveil the dark side effects of awakening, those that no one tells you about, but that all the chosen face. It is not a warning to give up, but rather a preparation for you to understand and follow your journey with more confidence. If this topic resonates with you, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Here we talk about spirituality in a true way, without illusions, so you can evolve consciously. Let's go together. Spiritual awakening is an experience that changes everything. What once seemed obvious begins to dissolve, and suddenly you find yourself in unfamiliar territory. You no longer see the world in the same way. Your perceptions expand, and what once made sense now feels strange and distant. This feeling of being lost is one of the first side effects of awakening. The human mind likes patterns and certainties. It needs logical explanations to feel secure. But when awakening happens, it breaks these structures, bringing profound questioning. Who am I? What is real? What exists beyond what I was taught? These questions arise forcefully, and it is difficult to find immediate answers. This confusion can be frightening because it calls into question everything you believed to be true. If you previously had a clear identity, now it feels fragile, as if it were slipping through your fingers. Beliefs that were once unshakable begin to crumble, and you realize that much of what you were taught about life may not be exactly as you were told. Many people, when going through this stage, feel a deep desire to seek answers. It is common to dive into spiritual books, study ancient philosophies, or seek masters who can provide some sort of guidance. However, no matter how valuable this knowledge is, it will never be enough to completely explain what is happening within you. Awakening is not something that can be understood solely with the mind. It needs to be felt. It is an internal process that requires patience and surrender. The more you try to force a logical explanation, the more frustrating it becomes. Confusion is not a mistake. It is not a problem to be solved. It is part of the transformation, the dismantling of the old, so that the new may arise. Often, the best thing to do is not to chase after external answers, but to learn to be comfortable amid the chaos. Allow yourself to feel this strangeness without trying to control it. Observe your thoughts without attachment, without the need to label each experience. Gradually, a new understanding begins to emerge naturally, without effort. Another common feeling at this stage is a sense of being disconnected from reality. Things that were once important may lose their meaning. Friends, family, work, everything may seem different, as if you were watching your own life from the outside. This feeling of detachment is temporary and occurs because your consciousness is expanding to see beyond what was once known. It is normal to feel fear in the face of this uncertainty. The mind craves security. It wants something solid to lean on. But awakening is not about returning to a comfort zone. It is about learning to navigate the unknown. And this requires trust. Even if you do not understand everything that is happening, trust that each piece will fall into place in its own time. A practice that can help during this period is silence. Finding peace within yourself, without the need to find urgent answers. Meditation, connecting with nature, and moments of introspection can ease the mind's anxiety and bring more clarity to this process. The initial confusion of awakening may seem like a maze with no exit, but it is merely a stage. Over time, your perception adjusts, and you begin to find a new balance. This journey is not about understanding everything immediately, but about allowing the truth to reveal itself at the right moment. If you are going through this period of confusion, know that it is a sign of growth. You are freeing yourself from the limitations of the past and opening space for a new understanding of existence. Trust the process, for every chosen one goes through this phase before attaining a clearer vision of their spiritual journey. Spiritual awakening transforms your perception of everything, including the people around you. What once seemed normal now feels strange. Trivial conversations seem empty. Routines that once made sense now appear mechanical. You observe the world differently, while many around you continue living on autopilot, trapped in the same beliefs and patterns. This effect can create a profound sense of disconnection. You feel like you no longer fit into the same places, that your relationships are changing, and that in some way you are drifting away from the people you used to associate with. It's as if you are on a different frequency, and this change makes it difficult to connect with those who have not gone through the same process. The distancing does not always happen abruptly. Sometimes it is subtle. Conversations become shorter, meetings less frequent. Certain topics that once held your attention now seem uninteresting. You feel an increasing need to be alone or to seek deeper, more meaningful interactions. This distancing can be painful, especially when it involves people you love. Friends and family may notice your change and not understand it. Some may feel that you are distant or different, and the sensation may arise that you no longer belong to that circle. This does not mean anything is wrong. It only means that your vibration has changed. Often, those who awaken seek to share their vision with others. The desire to help and raise awareness is strong, but not everyone is ready to listen. Each person has their own pace of evolution, and trying to force an awakening on someone who is not prepared can lead to resistance and even greater distancing. It is common to miss what was before. It may seem that your old life was simpler, that everything flowed more naturally, but this longing does not mean you should go back. Awakening does not allow for regression, and trying to fit back into old patterns will only bring frustration. The secret is to accept this transition. Not all connections will remain, and that's okay. Some people will follow different paths, while new ones will enter your life, aligned with your new vibration. The universe always places those who are ready to walk alongside you. It is important to remember that feeling alone at this moment does not mean you are truly alone. Temporary distancing may be necessary for you to strengthen internally and learn to trust your own energy more. This period of solitude can be a gift, an opportunity to get to know yourself better without the external influences you had before. Over time, new connections begin to arise. People who share your worldview naturally appear. These are encounters that feel predestined, with those who understand your journey without judgment. This is one of the great signs that you are on the right path. Disconnection may seem like a challenge, but it is an essential stage of transformation. The more you accept this change, the easier it becomes to find a new balance. Your energy is changing, and this naturally reorganizes your relationships. What matters is to trust the process and allow life to bring you those who truly need to be by your side. Spiritual awakening does not happen only in the mind, but in the body and soul. You begin to feel the world more intensely, as if everything is amplified. Sounds that once went unnoticed now seem deafening. Heavily charged environments become oppressive. The emotions of others seem to invade your own energy field, as if they were yours. This heightened sensitivity can be both a gift and a challenge. You start to pick up on nuances you previously ignored, perceive unspoken intentions, and feel vibrations in the places you frequent. But this expanded perception can become exhausting. Suddenly, what was once comfortable becomes draining, and what was once ordinary now feels intolerable. Crowds can become overwhelming. Previously, being in a mall, at a party, or in any crowded place was normal. Now, these spaces seem filled with noise, chaos, and dense energy. It is not just the external noise, but the accumulated energy of dozens of people, their thoughts, worries, and emotions. You feel all of this as if it were yours. This extreme sensitivity can also manifest in relationships. You sense when someone is lying, when they are carrying an emotional burden, or when their intentions are not genuine. Often, this brings a feeling of frustration because the world continues to operate with masks and superficialities, while you see beyond them. The exhaustion happens because you do not just feel the energy around you. Often you absorb this energy without realizing it. The pain of others can become your own. You may feel a sudden sadness for no apparent reason, simply from having crossed paths with someone who was vibrating at that frequency. This can lead to extreme fatigue and a constant feeling of weight. That is why, after awakening, many people feel a greater need for isolation. Not because they want to distance themselves from the world, but because they need moments of silence to reorganize their own energies. Being alone becomes a necessity to restore balance and regain one's own vibration. Learning to cope with this sensitivity is essential to avoid burnout. Some practices can help maintain your energy stable and prevent you from absorbing what does not belong to you. The first of these is meditation. Creating a space of internal silence strengthens your connection to your own energy, preventing you from being drained by the external environment. Another powerful technique is grounding. Walking barefoot on the earth, touching trees, feeling nature around you. All of this helps discharge energies that are not yours and stabilize your vibration. Contact with nature is one of the most effective methods for restoring internal balance. Using crystals can also be a great ally. Some crystals, like black tourmaline and amethyst, help block external energies and protect your energy field. Carrying one of these crystals with you can create a sort of natural shield against unwanted influences. Another important point is learning to establish energetic boundaries. If you feel that certain people drain your energy, there's no problem in distancing yourself or limiting contact. Awakening teaches that not everyone who was by your side in the past will continue to be by your side in the future. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is a necessity. Diet also influences how you deal with this sensitivity. Heavy processed foods, or those filled with artificial substances, can make your energy denser and hinder your balance. A lighter, more natural diet helps maintain your vibration stable and facilitates the adjustment process to your new sensitivity. Accepting this new way of feeling the world is an important step. At first, it may seem like a burden, but over time, you learn to use it to your advantage. This sensitivity allows you to connect with others more deeply, understand emotions beyond words, and notice details that escape most people. Over time, you realize that this intensity of feelings is not a problem, but a gift. It allows you to see beyond appearances, identify good and bad energies, and align only with that which truly resonates with you. The secret is learning to protect your energy without closing yourself off from the world. Awakening brings challenges, and extreme sensitivity is one of the greatest of them. But this new perception is also a powerful tool. When you learn to control this sensitivity, instead of being controlled by it, you discover you can navigate the world without being affected by what does not belong to you. The balance between feeling and protecting yourself is what makes this experience lighter. The world remains the same, but now you see it differently. And this new perception, when well managed, becomes a great ally on your spiritual journey. Spiritual awakening not only brings clarity and lightness, it also exposes everything that has been hidden within you for years, perhaps for entire lifetimes. Traumas you thought you had overcome return with force. Fears that seemed small gain immense weight. Behavior patterns that once went unnoticed now become clear, and you realize how much your life has been shaped by them. This process can be painful because it no longer allows you to deceive yourself. You begin to see what has always been there, but which your mind, for defense, chose to ignore. The mask falls, and what remains is the naked and raw truth about who you are, about what you carry inside, and about what needs to be healed. Emotional pain intensifies because now you feel everything more deeply. Emotions that were once repressed come to the surface without warning. At times you may feel overwhelmed, as if you are reliving everything at once. The energy accumulated over the years needs to be released, and awakening makes this happen in an intense and often unexpected manner. Many people try to escape this pain. They seek distractions, try to ignore their feelings, or even pretend nothing is happening. But awakening does not allow shadows to be ignored. The more you resist, the more the pain grows. The only possible way is to look within and face what needs to be transformed. This process requires courage. It is not easy to confront your own wounds, revisit difficult moments, and admit the parts of yourself that you would prefer to hide. But this is the key to true liberation. Only when you accept your shadows do they lose their power over you. Emotional pain should not be repressed, but understood. If you feel like crying, cry. If you need to write to organize your thoughts, write. If you feel that meditation can help, practice it. Allow yourself to feel everything that comes, without judgment. Pain is not the enemy. It is a messenger, bringing valuable information about what still needs to be healed. Many chosen ones, upon awakening, realize that they carry not only their own pain, but also the collective pain. They become more sensitive to the suffering of the world, feel the weight of humanity, and begin to see injustices that previously went unnoticed. This can generate a feeling of helplessness, a desire to change everything, to alleviate the pain of others. But the first step to helping the world is to heal yourself. It is not about carrying the suffering of others, but about learning to transform your own pain into something positive. True compassion arises when you go through the fire of transformation and understand that everyone has their own healing process. Acceptance is one of the greatest learnings of this phase. Accepting that some pains have no explanation, that certain feelings will come and go like waves. Accepting that the past cannot be changed, but that it does not have to define your future. Accepting that growth hurts, but that this pain is a sign that something within you is expanding. Awakening requires patience with yourself. Some days will be lighter, Others will be heavier. There will be moments when you feel a deep peace, and moments when it seems you are lost. This fluctuation is part of the process. There is no linear path. What matters is to keep walking, without haste, without pressure. One of the most powerful ways to transform pain is to find a purpose within it. Ask yourself, what does this pain want to teach me? What can I learn from this experience? How can I use this to grow? Each wound carries a lesson, and the more you listen to what your soul is trying to say, the easier it becomes to get through this phase. The healing process does not happen overnight. It comes in layers. Sometimes you feel you have already overcome something, but sometime later that pain returns in a different form. This does not mean you are not progressing, but rather that healing happens gradually, as you are ready to deal with each part of it. The most important thing is to remember that you are not alone. All the chosen go through this moment. Intense emotional pain is part of the transition to a new level of consciousness, but it does not last forever. Over time, you learn to carry this sensitivity with more lightness, to embrace your emotions without fear, and to find peace amid the chaos. Awakening is a call to transformation. It does not happen to punish you or to make you suffer, but to liberate you. And when you get through this phase, something incredible happens. What once felt like a burden becomes a drive. The pain that once paralyzed you becomes strength. What once was fear transforms into wisdom. The emotional pain of ascension is not the end of the journey. It is the passage to a new beginning. And you are exactly where you should be. Trust the process, trust yourself, and move forward. Spiritual awakening not only expands your consciousness, it also deconstructs everything you believed to be true about yourself. Before, your identity seemed well-defined. You had clear roles, structured beliefs, and certainties that guided your decisions. But suddenly, all of this begins to crumble. The feeling can be overwhelming. What once made sense now feels empty. Your interests change, your priorities transform, and most importantly, you no longer recognize yourself. It's as if you are looking at a reflection in the mirror, and for the first time realizing that this is not really you. This existential crisis can arise as intense mental confusion. You ask yourself, if I am no longer who I thought I was, then who am I now? This questioning can be distressing because it seems that the entire structure that sustained your life has disappeared. You don't know where to go or what to do. What once gave you security now seems purposeless. You may lose interest in certain friendships, in work, and in activities that were once enjoyable. This emptiness is frightening because it seems that nothing can fill it. But in reality, this emptiness is not an end, but a space for reconstruction. At first, this phase can be painful because the ego, accustomed to defining itself through labels and external identities, resists change. But awakening is a call to go beyond these superficial definitions and discover the truth about who you really are, beyond expectations, social roles, and others' opinions. One of the most effective ways to deal with this crisis is to allow yourself to feel. Accept that the old no longer makes sense without rushing to find a new identity. It is a moment to observe, reflect, and allow transformation to happen without trying to control it. Solitude can become a great ally in this process. Spending time with yourself, without distractions, can help you listen to your intuition and discern which paths truly make sense. It is not about isolating yourself, but about creating an internal space for your true essence to emerge. Another important point is not to cling to the past. There may be a desire to try to return to what was before because it was comfortable and familiar. If you are going through this existential crisis, know that you are not alone. All chosen ones face this phase at some point, and those who persist, who trust the process, discover that this crisis was not an end, but a rebirth. Now tell me, have you experienced any of these side effects of awakening? How have you been dealing with it? Share your experience in the comments. If this content helped you, leave your like, share it with someone who might be going through this, and subscribe to the channel for more videos about spiritual awakening and self-awareness. See you in the next journey. Sparkles Rocket.